Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. First of all, I want to thank everybody who has already subscribed. We've had a huge amount of people signing up now because it's New Year. Everyone is thinking about diets. So just a huge thank you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It does help us a lot and it's totally free, so there's no excuse. I've also got good news for you. When I've done the bread video, I was saying that you can only use it on your vegetable days because of the 2 tolerated items. It's not actually true. I've done my research and the wheat bran is tolerated only when you use more than 2 tablespoons a day. So the Dukan bread recipe you can literally use every day without any guilt feeling. If you add the seeds, it's a tolerated item. If you leave the seeds out, you can have your bread 7 days a week. So I thought I'll share that bit of good news for you. And then the next thing is I'm going to tell you what we're going to be baking today. We're going to make some chocolate and goji berry muffins. So we'll be back to that in a minute. I'll show you how to make it. Hi everyone, so we're going to have a look at the ingredients now, what you need for your muffins. Let's have a look. First ingredient, obviously we're going to need some goji berries. I just wanted to quickly show you something. When you buy your goji berries in the shop, they're often a little bit dry and they're very vibrant in color. But after some time, when you've stored them, depending on whether they were in an airtight container or not, they do discolor a little bit, they turn a bit darker and they become softer. So for this recipe, if you want to use your dried berries, I soak them overnight. So what I do is I take 4 tablespoons of goji berries and I soak them in 4 tablespoons of water overnight. And I also add a half a teaspoon of some vanilla extract. You can of course use any flavor or extract that you like. And you don't need to use it at all if you don't want to. So best to soak them overnight, but if you are a bit short on time, what you could do is use boiling water instead, and then you can use them within 20 minutes. So just in case. So that's our goji berries. That's the first ingredient going in there. Then we'll have a look at our dry ingredients. Let's just briefly talk about the sweetener. The sweetener that I prefer to use in baking is called erythritol, and you can have a look a bit which sweeteners are allowed on Dukan. There's a lot of information on sweeteners out there just now. The erythritol has got a lot of positives when it comes to health benefits. A lot of information that I can put out on my channel for you if you're interested. So this is what we're using here today. You'll see the texture looks a bit like caster sugar. It works very well in baking and it doesn't have a horrible aftertaste in your muffins. The other sweetener you can of course use is stevia, which everybody recommends because it's a natural product. It's not manufactured or processed. Stevia is straight from a plant and you can use stevia, but I do find stevia have a bit of an aftertaste, especially when I have it in tea and coffee. In baking, not so much of an aftertaste, and it actually has a very good texture similar to the erythritol. Now if you want to use liquid sweetener, on the other hand, there's lots of different brands. You're going to need a lot less of the liquid sweetener. In my recipe here for the muffins today, we have 1/3 cup of the granulated sweetener, but when you use the liquid, you're probably going to need only a couple of milliliters. So liquid sweetener, you need to think in drops or a couple of milliliters rather than a large quantity. So that takes care of our sweetener. Then we are going to add some baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we're looking at our cocoa powder. This is the product we have here in Bulgaria. It says na prach, which means less fat. So try to find a nice low-fat cocoa powder. Even a fat-free cocoa powder would be ideal. So the one I've got here is a nice dark one. I use 3 tablespoons of that. and it gives a good color to your muffins and a good taste. If you want to, you could also use some chocolate drops. They need to be dark chocolate drops, and they need to be more than 70%. If you want to use those instead, or you can use them additionally. The next ingredient is obviously your oat bran, to get your daily oat bran in. The oat bran in this bowl is 96 grams, or if you prefer, 8 tablespoons. So we're going to be baking 8 muffins, and if you are going to be eating 2 muffins a day, that will be your allowance covered. Now onto the lovely wheat bran. Again, I'll say this again, it becomes a tolerated item if you use more than 2 tablespoons a day. So the amount we've got in here is 8 tablespoons. If you eat 2 muffins, you'll be using 2 tablespoons. And if you prefer to weigh it out, it is only 30 grams when you weigh it. So that's the wheat bran. That takes care of all the dry ingredients. Now quickly look at the wet ingredients. 2 large free-range eggs. These are from our own chickens. Then the little bit of liquid we add here is 40 milliliters of skimmed milk. Now the milk, I only use it because of the cocoa powder. If you're not using cocoa powder in your muffins, you don't need the milk. Then the next product we have in here, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but I call it Skyr. It is a very, very low fat product, and it's got very high in protein, and you're allowed this on the Dukan diet. If wherever you live you can't find the Skyr, you can definitely use quark instead, or you can use your cream cheese spread, or you can use some fat-free yogurt or very low-fat yogurt. But I prefer to use the Skyr. It gives a really lovely moist texture to the muffins. So that's all the ingredients. I'm quickly going to show you how to put it together, and I'm also going to preheat the oven to 190 degrees. So let's put our oven on. Here we go. Let's make a bit of space here, first of all. So first what we do is find yourself a nice big mixing bowl. We're going to start with our dry ingredients. First you put in your oat bran, just tip it in the bowl. Now your wheat bran. Now your sweetener. And your baking powder. After that, your cocoa powder. So that's all your dry ingredients, all in. We're just going to stir that nicely together. Very important that your baking powder is well mixed. Check for any lumps. If you see a lump of baking powder, squash the lump, break it down. There's no need to sieve this mixture because it's really coarse, and you'll end up with half of it just staying behind in the sieve. So no need to mix it and sieve it. The next thing, find yourself a slightly smaller bowl, and what we're going to do, we're going to break our eggs first of all into the bowl. Here we go. And after that, we will add the milk. And straight after that, the half a cup of Skyr or yogurt or quark or cream cheese. The recipe is not sensitive in that way. I've, by the way, tried every single recipe using the different types of dairy, and they all work beautifully well. Now that we've got all our wet ingredients in the bowl, we're going to just break up the eggs. Give it a little whisk, just by hand. Oops. Now what we're going to do, we're going to just stir the wet into the dry. There we go. It's just light mixing. Only takes a few seconds. It's a really quick recipe, and that's why I like it so much. Now when it's basically almost completely mixed, you can add your goji berries. Now I add the liquid that it's been soaking in as well. So it's all going in. I love the color of the goji berries, and the taste is actually quite nice when you add a little bit of flavoring to it. So here we are. I'm going to get my tablespoon here. Clean the spoon. There we go. And now I've got my muffin tin here. I'm using oval shaped. You can use round, any shape you like. It doesn't have to be a silicone mold. You can also use regular molds. You can line it with some greaseproof paper if you like. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to divide the mixture up into the 8 holes. You will see mine comes about half a centimeter to the top. The muffins do rise quite well, so you don't need to worry that you are overfilling your mold. Just make sure they're just slightly under the top. A good idea is to spoon a spoonful of mixture into each mold and then come back with the remaining of the mixture to make sure it's all equally divided. Here we go. Quite a bit left in the bowl here. Now we can go back to the ones we've overfilled a bit. Just take a bit of the mixture out, make it nice and equal, maybe a little bit out of here. There we go. And when you feel it's all equally distributed, you can just wipe the tray. And now this is ready to go into the oven. We have preheated the oven to 190 degrees Celsius, but we're going to turn it down to 180 when the muffins are in there, and they're going to be baking for 20 to 25 minutes. So let's put that in the oven then. In the middle of the oven, sorry, I've put the timer on, and we will come back to you once these muffins are baked. See you soon. Welcome back everyone. The oven timer just gone off, so our muffins should be ready. Let's have a look if they are. There we go. So what I do, I literally just press down. They should be nice and bouncy. You can check them with a pin if you like, but what you're looking for is just for them to be slightly bouncy. So we'll take them out, and I'm just going to leave them in this mold to cool off for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can turn them out, of course, after 5 minutes, and once they've cooled off enough, we'll cut them open and I'll give you some ideas of how you can serve them, but you can of course eat them just like they are right now. So we'll come back in a few minutes and we will show you what we can do with these muffins. Hi everyone, welcome back. The muffins have now cooled off completely, about 10 minutes I would say, if I have to guess. And I'm going to show you now what they look like and give you some ideas. So let me show you. They've now cooled off. This one I've just cut open a short time ago, so the steam came out. You'll see it's very, very moist It's not dry at all. You can literally just eat it straight away. It's not dry. It's also nice and flexible. It doesn't fall apart. So I'm going to slice one for you so you can actually see. Slightly crumbly, but it holds together really well. And because of those goji berries in there, it gives us extra moistness in there. Now, just something about the goji berries. The goji berries doesn't count as a tolerated item, so it's an allowed item. So you can have a tablespoon level of goji berries on your protein days, and on your vegetable days you can have 2 tablespoons. So the recipe we've done here today is completely suitable for a vegetable day. On a protein day, however, the tolerated item has been added for cocoa powder. So on your protein days, remember, no chocolate muffins. On your protein day, you can make up the same recipe. You leave out the cocoa powder and you can add a little bit of cinnamon. You can add up to 2 tablespoons of cinnamon if you want. And you can also add any other flavorings, extracts, anything you like. And if you're using cinnamon, you don't need to add that extra bit of milk to the mixture. So that's just something for you to think about. Another thing you can add, if you don't have goji berries, you can add a 1/2 cup of coarsely grated courgette or zucchini. You could also, if you don't have that, if it's not in season, you can use carrot, a 1/2 cup of grated carrot, and it's actually really lovely with a carrot. So when you use courgette or carrot, only on your vegetable days, not your protein days. Okay, so now let me quickly show you what I do for my breakfast when I have muffins for breakfast. I use my favorite Skyr, what we were talking about earlier in the video. It's lovely. It's thick, it's glossy, it's creamy, it's really gorgeous. So what I do is I do a little dollop of Skyr on my muffin. Of course, you don't need to do it. It's not dry. It just makes it feel a little bit more indulgent. Let me get a plate. Here we go. And when you're on your vegetable days, you are allowed your 2 tablespoons of goji berries. So what I do is I take some goji berries and I can either serve it on my yogurt, my tablespoon of goji berries, or I put a teaspoon of goji berries on my muffin with a Skyr. There we go. So you can either serve your yogurt with the berries, muffin on the side, or you can do the berries on top. Okay, so that was the goji berry muffins, chocolate and goji berry muffins. It's totally Dukan friendly, and I hope you enjoyed this video. The other thing I wanted to just tell you about today, we are very proud. We've just started our own Facebook group page, and I've put the link in the description part of the channel. So if you would like to click on that link and become a member, that would be great, because then you will follow all the other news as well, Dukan information, and you will have a whole support network of other friends all over the world who's in the same boat as you. So please come and join us. There's already quite a large group of members, and it would be great to see you there. If you have any questions on the recipes, anything we've covered today, or anything related to Dukan, I'm happy to answer your questions. So remember to click like, subscribe, and we will be seeing you next time. Next time I will be making you some light lunches. So keep watching and have a good day. Bye everyone.